You prayed for it. You fasted, pleaded, and waited for it. And now, it's here. The promotion came through. The opportunity showed up. The relationship began. The door flung wide open. But what nobody told you, what they never say in the shouting and the celebrating, is that every blessing comes with baggage. The breakthrough came, but it brought weight with it. The answer arrived, but it carried a responsibility you weren't ready for. You thought favor would feel like freedom, but sometimes it feels like pressure. We don't talk enough about the side effects of elevation. We love the mountaintop, but we forget that the air gets thinner the higher you go. You can't breathe the same way. You can't move the same way. What used to be easy now demands discipline. What once felt light now feels loaded, because blessings are not free. They are assignments. And with every assignment comes accountability. Sometimes the very thing you shouted over on Sunday starts to stretch you by Wednesday. You asked God to enlarge your territory, and now you're losing sleep managing what you begged for. You prayed for a platform, but now you're drowning in pressure. See, everybody wants the crown, but nobody talks about the headache that comes with wearing it. That's the side effect. And the most dangerous thing, mistaking blessing for burden and burden for punishment. No, it's not punishment. It's purpose wrapped in responsibility. God gave it to you because you were ready, but ready doesn't mean easy. It just means chosen. It means trusted. It means God believes you can handle what's heavy, but it still feels heavy. You wanted the relationship. Now you have to maintain it. You wanted the business. Now you've got payroll. You wanted the calling. Now you feel the crushing because the oil only flows through pressure. And while the crowd sees your shine, only you feel the press. That's the part nobody celebrates. The weight of the yes. That's why some people walk away from their own prayers. Not because they weren't answered, but because they didn't expect the side effects. The loneliness that comes with leadership, the silence that follows the shout, the warfare that follows the anointing. You thought the promise would bring peace, but it also brought problems. You didn't know that answered prayers have fine print. But here's the truth. Side effects don't mean something's wrong. They mean something's working. They mean you've been entrusted with more. And while it doesn't feel fair, favor never is. You're not under attack. You're under assignment. And every side effect is proof that your blessing is alive and active, that your calling is too big to come without cost. That what you carry is shifting atmospheres, and anything that shifts something must first stretch something. So yes, the blessing came with baggage. Yes, the favor came with fatigue, but God doesn't give without grace. And He wouldn't have placed it in your hands if He hadn't already prepared your spirit to carry it. The side effects may sting, but the fruit still grows. The journey may be heavy, but the oil is flowing. And when it's all said and done, you won't just be blessed. You'll be built stronger, wiser, steadier. And that too is a side effect. Everybody sees the glory, but few understand the grind. We celebrate success like it's a destination, but we never talk about the toll it takes on the soul. Because success, real success, the kind you pray for, fight for, sacrifice for, doesn't come alone. It brings shadows. It brings silence. It brings side effects. You thought success would make you feel seen, but sometimes it makes you feel exposed. You thought it would bring you comfort, But now you're more isolated than ever. The higher you go, the more you lose. You wanted the spotlight, but the heat from it can burn. People see your accomplishments, but they don't see your anxiety. They see the platform, but not the pressure. They see the elevation, but not the isolation. You can't move the same way, speak the same way, trust the same way. Success alters your circle. It reveals who clapped for your rise and who waited for your fall. And the higher you climb, the smaller your company becomes. Nobody tells you that success demands sacrifice. Yes, you made it. But now you're up at night wrestling with responsibilities you never imagined. You're carrying people, plans, projects, and the weight of it doesn't let you rest. You used to have time to breathe, to dream, to just be. But now, even your peace is scheduled. Even your silence gets interrupted. And the worst part, you can't complain because from the outside, it looks like you're living the dream. But success costs. It costs privacy. It costs simplicity. It costs vulnerability. And sometimes it costs relationships. People who once loved you in your struggle can't stand you in your strength. Not because you changed, but because your success exposed their stagnation. And you feel the shift. You feel the distance. And you're too wise now to beg people to stay who only loved you when you were broken. It's a hard truth, but necessary. Every elevation will create separation. Not out of pride, but out of purpose. You can't carry old weight into new levels. And sometimes the real test of success isn't just reaching the top, but surviving what you lose on the way up. You've got more now, but you laugh less. You've achieved more, but you rest less. That's the side effect. And then there's the fear. Oh yes, success brings fear. The fear of falling, the fear of failing publicly, the fear of not being enough, even when you have more than enough. Because success makes you question if you're worthy of what you've received. It shines a light not only on your talents, but on your insecurities. And while others see your win, you silently wrestle with whether you're built for what comes with it. But here's the thing. God doesn't give platforms without preparing the person. He doesn't open doors without building the foundation. If he brought you to it, he's equipped you for the weight of it. You may not feel ready, but he knew what he placed in you. You're not successful by accident. You're standing where you are on purpose for purpose. And the pressure you feel, it's not a sign to shrink, it's a sign to stretch. So yes, success has side effects, but those effects are the marks of growth. They're the evidence of grace. They're the cost of carrying something greater than yourself. Let them talk, let them wonder, let them misunderstand. You know what it took to get here. You know what it cost to stay here. And you know who sustained you through it all. You're not just successful, you're surviving what success tried to steal. And that too is a side effect. Some wounds don't show on the surface. Some battles are invisible to the naked eye. We carry trauma like a secret weight, tucked away deep inside, thinking if we ignore it long enough, it will disappear. But trauma has a way of lingering, like a shadow that follows you long after the sun has set. And sometimes the side effects don't come immediately. They arrive late, unannounced, catching you off guard. That pain you thought you buried might still be breathing inside of you, waiting for the right moment to remind you it's there. You see, trauma doesn't always break you in the moment. Sometimes it just bends you. Sometimes it just bruises you softly so you don't notice the damage right away. And when you don't deal with it, when you push it down or pretend it doesn't exist, it simmers beneath the surface, working quietly in your mind, your body, your spirit. It waits. And eventually, it shows up in your relationships, your decisions, your health, your peace. Delayed side effects of trauma are tricky because they sneak up on you. You might find yourself triggered by something small, a look, a word, a smell, and suddenly you're reliving a nightmare you thought was long over. Maybe you feel anxiety that you can't explain, or anger that comes out of nowhere, or sadness that won't lift. You wonder why you can't just move on, why you still carry this weight. But the truth is, trauma isn't something you move past like a finish line. It's something you carry, learn from, and heal over time. There's a reason why some wounds feel raw years later. Because they never had the chance to heal properly. Because you were forced to be strong before you were ready. Because you were told to get over it when you just needed to be held. And those unmet needs, those silenced cries, those buried feelings, they echo inside you in ways you can't always control. But here's the good news: delayed side effects don't have to define you. They don't have to dictate your future. They are not a sentence. They're a signal that healing is still possible, that restoration is still within reach. You're not broken beyond repair. You're in process. The scars you carry are proof you survived, but they're also reminders that survival is just the beginning. Healing is the next chapter. And healing doesn't mean forgetting. Healing means acknowledging the pain, facing it with courage, and giving yourself permission to feel. Healing means breaking the cycle of silence and shame and choosing to speak your truth. Healing means allowing grace to meet you in your brokenness. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. You may feel the side effects of trauma in your relationships. The mistrust, the fear of intimacy, the walls you build to protect yourself. You may see it in your decisions, the hesitations, the second guessing, the avoidance of risk. You may experience it in your body, the tension, the exhaustion, the ailments without explanation. But none of these side effects are signs of weakness. They are the echoes of survival. They are the calls to care for yourself with compassion. Remember, you don't have to walk this journey alone. Support, love, and understanding are the balm to these hidden wounds. And faith is the anchor that holds you steady when the past threatens to pull you under. God sees every tear you've cried, every silent scream, every battle fought in the quiet of your soul. And He promises restoration, not just in the future, but starting right now. So don't ignore the side effects. Don't dismiss the delayed pain. Face it with courage. Receive the healing you deserve. Because trauma may have shaped your story, but it doesn't have to write the ending. And the journey from brokenness to breakthrough begins the moment you decide to heal. Walking by faith is not a smooth road. It's not a sunny path where everything is clear and easy. No, walking by faith often feels like walking blind. It means stepping out into the unknown without a map, without guarantees, without certainty. You're asked to trust when you don't see, to obey when the instructions don't make sense, to move forward when every instinct is telling you to stop. And that tension between what you believe and what you feel is real, it's raw, it's heavy. Faith is a beautiful thing, but it's not always comfortable. It stretches you, pulls you, sometimes pushes you to the edge of your endurance. You pray for direction, but the silence can be deafening. You ask for peace, but the struggle continues. You want clarity, but the path remains unclear. And in those moments, doubt tries to creep in. Fear tries to take hold. The enemy whispers, "Are you sure this is right? Maybe you're making a mistake." And it's easy to listen because walking by faith is hard work. It's easy to think that faith means having all the answers. But faith means trusting even when you don't have answers. It means holding on when you want to let go. It means believing in the promise, even when the promise looks distant, even when the promise feels delayed. The tension between what you want to see and what you can't yet see is part of the process. That's the side effect of faith. When God calls you to obey, sometimes it feels like He's asking you to give up control, and that feels like loss. But really, it's liberation. It's learning to surrender your will to a greater plan. But surrender isn't a one-time event. It's a daily decision. And every day you choose faith over fear, obedience over comfort, trust over doubt, you're growing stronger, even if it doesn't feel like it. Walking by faith also means facing trials that test your heart. Sometimes the very thing you prayed for will come wrapped in challenges. Sometimes the blessing will bring conflict. Sometimes the breakthrough will require patience. And it's in those trials that your faith is refined, like gold in the fire. The pressure isn't punishment, it's preparation. The emotional toll is real. You may feel loneliness because no one else can walk your path for you. You may feel confusion because the answers come slowly. You may feel frustration because faith asks for patience in a world that demands instant results. But the struggle is proof that you're on the right track. If it were easy, everyone would do it. But it's the hard road that leads to the deepest transformation. And here's the secret: God is with you in every step, even when it feels like you're walking alone. He's the voice in the silence, the strength in your weakness, the peace in your chaos. You may not see Him clearly, but He sees you. He knows your heart. He's shaping you through the tension, molding you through the trial, preparing you for what's next. So don't give up when the tension feels unbearable. Don't stop when obedience feels costly. The side effects of walking by faith are real, but so is the reward. Keep stepping forward. Keep trusting. Keep believing that what's unseen is more real than what you see. Because on the other side of that tension is breakthrough. And on the other side of obedience is blessing. The journey may be hard, but the destination is worth every step. Sometimes the hardest part of healing isn't the pain itself. It's the withdrawal. When God delivers you from what hurt you, when He sets you free from a toxic situation, a damaging relationship, or a harmful habit, it doesn't always feel like freedom right away. Sometimes it feels like loss, because even though what you left behind was hurting you, it was familiar. It was the place you knew, the people you trusted, the routine you lived. And when God pulls you out, you step into the unknown. You step out of your comfort zone, and that feels scary. Withdrawal is that confusing, uncomfortable space between bondage and breakthrough. It's the time when your body, your mind, your soul all want to go back to what they know, even if it was poison, because it's what feels safe. It's the side effect of healing that nobody warns you about. You expect to feel better immediately, but instead, you feel the ache of absence. You feel the craving for what used to be. And it's hard because on one hand, God is leading you to something better. But on the other hand, you're grieving the loss of what was. It's important to understand that withdrawal is not failure. It's not weakness. It's a natural part of the process. When you break free from what hurt you, your spirit goes through detox. Your emotions get unsettled. Your mind tries to make of the new reality. That restless feeling, the moments of doubt, the temptation to return, those are signs that something powerful is happening inside you. You're being rewired, renewed, restored. Healing doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, and every journey has moments of discomfort. The same way your body reacts when you stop a harmful habit, your soul reacts when you stop old patterns that no longer serve you. It's like your spirit is crying out, I'm adjusting, give me time. And you have to be patient with yourself, with God's timing, with the process. There's grace for that season of withdrawal. Grace to feel what you need to feel without judgment. Grace to stumble without shame. Grace to lean into God even when you don't understand. Because healing is not linear. You might move forward one day and feel like you've taken 2 steps back the next. But every step, even the backward ones, is part of your story of restoration. It's also important to surround yourself with support during this time. You need people who will remind you of your worth when you forget it. You need encouragement when the cravings get loud. You need love that doesn't let you give up on yourself. And most of all, you need to hold on to the truth that God's plan for your healing is greater than your temporary discomfort. Remember, just because something was toxic doesn't mean it wasn't familiar. Familiarity can create a false sense of security. You might miss the familiar, but don't mistake missing the familiar for wanting to go back to the pain. What God is doing in you is bigger than what you left behind. The withdrawal is proof that the chains are breaking. So if you're in that place right now, feeling the sting of withdrawal after a season of healing, know this: you are not alone. The ache means you're growing. The discomfort means you're changing. And the side effects of healing, though painful, are signs that freedom is on the horizon. Hold fast. Keep moving forward. The promise of peace and joy will come, but first, you have to pass through the valley of withdrawal. And that valley, it's a necessary part of your victory. We often think of side effects as something negative, something we want to avoid or get rid of as quickly as possible. But what if I told you that not all side effects are bad? What if some of those unexpected consequences of your journey are actually blessings in disguise? The trials, the pains, the challenges you face, they aren't just obstacles, they're shaping you. They're refining you. They're building strength and resilience that you never knew had. Side effects aren't always the enemy. Sometimes they're the evidence of growth. When life presses down on you, when the weight feels heavy and the struggle seems endless, remember this: pressure produces purpose. The side effects of hardship, of breakthrough, of transformation, they might look like weakness on the outside, but inside, they're forming something stronger. They're teaching you endurance, patience, and faith. They're carving out character and wisdom. You may feel broken, but you're being built. There's a season in every person's life when the side effects seem unbearable. You might be dealing with loss, disappointment, or confusion. You might feel worn down by constant change or unexpected pain. But those side effects are like the stretching before growth. They are the breaking of old patterns so that new life can emerge. What feels like loss today is often the preparation for gain tomorrow. Sometimes those side effects come in the form of clarity. When the old ways no longer work, when the familiar no longer fits, God uses the discomfort to open your eyes to a new path. You begin to see yourself differently. You begin to recognize your strength, your value, your purpose in a way you never did before. That kind of clarity is a powerful side effect. It's the byproduct of faith, struggle, and perseverance. And yes, sometimes the side effects show up as resilience. You face disappointment, but you don't give up. You get knocked down, but you stand up again. You experience failure, but you keep moving forward. That resilience is not just a trait, it's a testimony. It's proof that your spirit is unbreakable, that no matter what tries to stop you, you have been equipped to keep going. You have to learn to celebrate the side effects that don't feel good at first because they're working behind the scenes. They are the silent victories. They are the foundation of your breakthrough. Without them, you wouldn't be who you are becoming. The pain, the stretching, the waiting, they are part of the process, and the process leads to progress. So when the side effects come, don't panic, don't run from them. Don't label them all as bad. Instead, lean into the lessons they bring. Ask yourself what they are teaching you. Ask yourself how they are shaping you. Because on the other side of those side effects is strength, clarity, and breakthrough. The side effects aren't just the price you pay. They're the proof you're on the right path. God doesn't just want to bless you. He wants to build you. He doesn't just want to change your circumstances. He wants to transform your character. And sometimes that transformation looks like side effects. Growth pains that feel uncomfortable but are necessary. So embrace them. Trust the process. Know that every side effect is part of a greater plan for your life. You are not just surviving the side effects. You are thriving because of them. You are not just enduring the challenges. You are being empowered by them. What was meant to hurt you has only made you stronger. That is the ultimate side effect. That is the victory waiting for you on the other side of the struggle.